Hello, good people. Welcome to my cake kitchen. I am Gladys, and over here I make simple, informative tutorials to help you navigate baking and decorating. So if you're seeing me for the first time, hello there. I hope by the end of this video you find some value to help your baking practices. And by the way, I'm going to leave it for as long as I can just to see who will notice what I'm wearing. What I'm wearing is rather important today and very subject centered, because what are we doing today? We're talking all things baking pans, okay? Baking pans, baking tins, baking trays. We're talking all things about that because these are important in our baking businesses, or whether we're a hobby baker, because the cake has to be baked in something, right? So this is just not any tool, but a really important tool or equipment that supports our baking processes. And many a time I get questions about baking tools, like pans, like which is the best pan? Why should you choose them? By the way, whilst we're at it, did you know simply by understanding the quality of your baking pan and what pan you need to use will affect and give you best baking result? It has a tendency to affect your baking for better or for worse. And where would you rather be? I choose better, okay? So just for demonstration purposes, I have it. And by the way, I don't bake with this anymore. There's a point to why I have this on my head. I don't bake with it anymore. So them internet people who love to come at me, like, okay, before we get into it, let's get to internet people and what people do. Can you imagine someone coming at me for wearing a dirty apron? And I'm like, are you crazy? Do you think I wake up and I set up with everything prim and proper just to come and film? No, I'm actually filming my day as a baker, busy in the kitchen between making chocolate cake sauces, and stuff happens. The whole point of wearing an apron is a protective measure to make sure that your clothes are safeguarded away from the mess, and also to serve as a barrier. So it is not for aesthetics. And so if I get busy after 10 hours, because people, why am I so angry? Why am I so angry? Glad, why are you so angry? No, I'm kidding. I think sometimes people lose. What I'm trying to say is that I think sometimes people lose the thought that actually not everything is a set, or not everything is staged. This is my home kitchen. I have a vlog pointing you to some of the nooks and crannies of this very small kitchen in which I stand. What I record for you, unless it's subject-centered where I have to study what I am trying to teach you, most of the time what I bring to you is actually a real life or some aspect of what I do in my kitchen professionally, whether I'm baking for customers or I am baking for tutorials. I am actually giving you a real life. So if you find a splatter on my apron, or there is color smudge, that is actually real. And actually, fun fact, most of the time I do not even know that has happened until some point when I am done, or even worse, when I'm edited, I'm like, oh my goodness. But here's one promise I make to you: I don't walk into my kitchen with a dirty apron. But of course, in the course of my business and activity in the kitchen, you'll end up with a dirty apron, and that's okay. So whoever that person was, I mean, off to the darkness where you belong. Good luck. Anyway, let's come back. Why am I so mad this morning? Okay, well, our lovely Tapeta is not here today. Okay, so Lollipop, thank you, darling. I didn't see you in the chat earlier, people. Love you lots, and thank you for being here. Yeah, my heart is very precious because it's very subject-centered. I wondered how long I could go before you'll notice my heart. So we're talking all things baking pans, okay? The drama. The drama, okay? Okay, the drama. We're just going to make this fun, but let's see. Oh, I forget. Look, I told you I can balance stuff on my head. in real time with my special hat. Okay, right. If you're in the chat, what do you know about baking pans? Okay, do you know if you were to choose a baking pan for your bake, would you know what to choose? I mean, I'm being a little bit dramatic today with my demonstration. It has nothing to do with anything. It's just talking about baking pans is likely to be a very boring subject. And we know over here we keep things fun and we make it like engaging for you. So my heart and my balancing skills is all to encourage excitement on the subject matter. That's all. But if you ever came to a party with me, you might never know. I might just pull that party hat as a trick. But all 28 people who are in the chat this morning, hello there. Thank you for being here. There is Marthy, there is Taisha. There is quite a few of you in the chat. There's Delaney. Delaney, how are you? Whoever is asking what I'm doing, we are not baking today. We are talking all things baking pans. I mean, my hat should be a clue. I am just wearing the pan so that you can see what we are here to do today. Because choosing the right baking pan will make a great difference to your bake, whether it's better or worse. You know, and I bake a lot. So today we're peeling it back. We're talking all things baking pan. We're talking what is best for you. And I'll even tell you my best recommended baking pans and why I love them. So here's a question for you. If you can answer that in the chat, I would greatly appreciate. Did you really know, up until this moment right here on this live, did you know, first of all, are you a baker? Do you bake? Let's know where you're joining us from. So whether you're a baker, you're interested in baking, I don't care what level you are, whether you are a beginner, intermediate, hobbyist or professional. If you are in the chat, please help us engage on the subject and tell us, are you a baker? What's your, how long have you been baking and what's your skill level? And most importantly, up until this moment, did you know that the type of pan you choose, the quality and material will make an impact for good or for worse in your baking? Let's know in the chat, because that is really important. And then I can cover some of the general subject about baking pans, just so that at the end of the this presentation, which I hope that at the end of it you have a general understanding of what pans to choose and why you should be choosing them to help your bake. And whilst we are on that subject, there will be Lollipop, who is our in-house moderator and friend to the channel, who will keep you engaged in the chat. Okay, our other moderator, Tapita, is with the in-laws today, so she won't be here, but hopefully we'll be back tomorrow. But if you see me for the first time, I love cake. I'm Gladys. I talk cake. I talk everything about cake. And over here, we talk generally cakes, but we throw in a bit of fun about life and everything else in between. Our community is super supportive over here. It's free to subscribe and join us, at least for now, okay? Join us and let's do this baking thing together. Now, let's get to the thought of, let's see if the questions are answers. Okay, Lollipop has answered. Lollipop, oh, Lollipop, you like my trick. Thank you. Okay, so Lollipop says the dark ones burn stuff. She also says, you know, I haven't started cakes. And Lollipop says, I only learned after finding me. Oh, Lollipop, thank you. You know what? Even if one person at the end of the session here, or your interaction with me at some point has inspired or taught you one thing, I am super grateful for that. The one thing you would have learned would make a difference to your baking outcome. There is Tara. Tara says, I bake sometimes. You bake sometimes. So Tara, would you know what kind of tin you need to pick for your best baking outcomes? Would you know? because that is important. And if you were baking, what would you choose to bake? That said, let's talk about baking pans. There are all sorts on the market. Well, at least, in fact, there are the ones that double as baking. There are the ones that double as a hat. But use the right tool for the right purpose, okay? So definitely your baking pans or baking tins are not for your hat. That is just to emphasize the point, okay? They are not for you to use as a hat. But I have this hat on simply for demonstration, because I'll be showing you what exactly is in this hat and why I don't use it anymore for baking. But in the meantime, it's going over my head just to keep you here. Oh wow, I think YouTube for some reason has changed the chat, because the what do you call it, the hashtag. And anyway, Lollipop, that's your thing to consider. Good, thank you for the help every day. But yes, so let's talk about baking pans. There are different ones. Can we all try and name some of the baking pans, just so that we can see where we are at? Baking pans, what are the types? I'm not talking types as in material. I'm talking about the types of baking pans you are likely to find. Name them in the chat. Let's see, because we're doing this together. We're trying to make this as interactive as possible so that I can fill in the gaps for you. So in the chat, can you put in the chat in your mind, and please don't Google stuff. If you don't know, just put in don't know. That is so that I can also have an understanding of your understanding of the subject matter, and then tweak the presentation or tutorial to make it understandable for you. So if you do not know what are the types of baking pans, and you will find that throughout my presentation, I'll be talking baking pans, baking tins, they're the same thing, okay? Baking pans, i.e. baking tins, unless specifically stated otherwise, it's baking pans or baking tin. But of course, there are different ones under the same subject area. So baking pans, do you know what types are on the market? Lollipop? Oh, okay. Okay, Tara likes to bake simple cakes, Arabian desserts like the babusa. Is it? Did I get it? Is it basbousa? I may have butchered the name there, darling. Sorry, that's Tara. Tara says she likes the basbousa. Okay. Is it a baked simple cakes? Like, oh, okay, it's a baked dessert. So thank you, Tara. And for the rest of you in the chat, what kind of baking tins are you likely to come across, or which ones do you know? Oh, I got it right, actually. Okay, thank you. I'm going to clap for myself. Okay, we have different types of baking pans or baking tins, some of which are shaped, okay? And the shaped one, let me just simply say, I could go down naming all of them. Oh, okay. Someone, Lollipop is clarifying the basbousa. A sweet syrup-soaked semolina dessert that is typically associated with Egyptian cuisine. Oh, wow. I've learned something new today. Thank you. It's lovely. Okay, so Lollipop, whilst we're at it, do me a favor if you don't mind. Try and let's recap some of the subject matter in the chat. Say, for instance, if I go on to name some of the shaped things or other things, make a point of putting those in the chat so that people can catch up on them later. I will also make a point of condensing the information in written form in a community post. Actually, yeah, you know what, actually I'll put it in the community post, don't worry about it. But if it's necessary, just highlight some of the subjects we are discussing in the chat so that people can see. So when we're talking baking pans, I could go on and name all the shapes, okay? Like when I start round tins, square tins, rectangular, oblong, I could go down that road, but we will never get to the end of it, okay? So think about any shape, as in regular shaped tin you can think of. We have it in cake form, as in a cake pan form, right? So that is one type of cake pan, which is the shape, the regular shaped pans. And then you come down to an option like your novelty. What is a novelty cake pan? It's a novelty cake pan is like a cake pan that is shaped in the form of a theme or a character. So you're looking at, say, if you're thinking about a football shirt cake, you can have a tin that is shaped like the shirt. You can have a tin that is shaped like a dog. You can have a tin that is shaped like a car, like as in 2D car, and all of that. Those are novelty cake pans. Okay, and then we have cupcake or muffin pans or tray. This also includes the jumbo pans or tins. I don't have all the elements here, for instance, but for instance, I will say just to demonstrate the shapes and sizes and pans. The demonstration here in terms of what I have is not very exhaustive, so bear that in mind, right? So for instance, when we have the round, the square, the rectangular, the pillow shaped. Okay, let's put pillow shape over here. This will fall under the category of shaped cake tins, okay? And then if I move that out of the way, we have the novelty things. Unfortunately, I don't make a lot of novelty cakes simply because I carve my themed elements, especially when people want to order specific items in cake form. I hand carve each one of them. So this is a pillow cake. So this will fall under the category of novelty because it is shaped. Novelty and shape, because this is an irregularly shaped item, because we have the regular shapes, which are the round, the square, and what have you, which are fine lined and very whole. And then this will fall under the category of novelty because it's a pillow. It's a specific item that is made into the pan. When you bake a cake in a novelty tin, you don't have to carve the element, and then you follow the design instructions to create the cake. So that is the novelty pan. We have loaf. We have loaf and bundt pans. This is an example of a bundt pan, okay? And these are examples of loaf pans, depending on what material they are made of. I have quite a few of that. And then we have cupcake trays and pans. I think cupcake pans are normally considered cupcake trays. It doesn't matter. The same thing, same difference. Cupcake trays, cupcake pans. It's also important to note that they also include the jumbo cupcake tray. For instance, this is a jumbo cupcake pan. So I can bake a giant cupcake in this, but it follows a particular process. So that is also something you should know. And then for my American audience, there is sheet trays, as in sheet pans, which come in a quarter, half, and the rest of you. I don't bake a lot of sheet cakes, so I don't have that to show you. But I will say sometimes sheet cakes, this is an oven tray anyway. This is an oven tray. But sheet cakes come specifically made in certain sizes so that they are easily put together for the specific order and size that a customer may want. And they come in something like this. This is an oven tray, by the way, so don't confuse it. But sheet trays also falls under the type of cake pans you will have on the market. So without even going through the exhaustive list, so far I have sort of categorized about 5. Let's go back to naming them. We have the regular shaped tins, we have the novelty shaped tins, we have muffin and cupcake trays, we have loaf and bundt tins, and then we have sheet trays. Okay, so that's about 5 or 6 type of tin types that you can pick up on the market. Each tin does something different, so you want to consider your objectives and goals before you pick up your tin. But you'll find that as a beginner, mostly you want to start with your regular shaped tins like your round tins, and I will explain that in a moment. Now, the idea of pans that you pick up are not just for picking up sake. And remember, when we started the presentation, quite a lot. When we started the presentation, I did say that knowing the right pan to pick up will influence your baking outcomes for better or for worse. And that's not just throwing a bunch of words into the air. That is actually important. Consideration has to be made about the material that is used to create your pans or tins for you, because they do affect a heat absorption and heat transfer during baking, which ultimately affects your baking results for better, for worse. So now let's come to, now that we know the types of pan we are likely to pick up, whether we're picking a bundt pan, we're picking a novelty pan, we're picking round or square pans, which one is great quality? Which one is cost effective? How is that going to affect our baking results? So let's go down there and see what those elements are like. So for your pans, you are generally going to find pans that are made from aluminium, okay? Some form of aluminium, whether it's the raw aluminium or alloyed aluminium or anodized aluminium. But I'll come back to breaking it down. So aluminium is in one category. Now, the reason why aluminium is important in baking is that as aluminium as an element is a great conductor of heat. It absorbs heat well, it works well, and as an industry standard, depending on what aluminium type of pan you get, it will guarantee better baking results for you because of how aluminium interacts with heat and spread in the oven. That said, aluminium in some form, I'll come down to it because I just named the alloyed aluminium or anodized, and I'm keeping it very simple. The anodized and alloyed aluminiums I will explain, because you will find that as we go down, anodized tins are your best friend. Okay, so if you don't take anything out of this chatter over here, you will find anodized tins are your best friend in terms of quality, in terms of cost and value. Okay, so you will find aluminium works, and your best material for heat conduction and absorption and better results in the oven will be an aluminium type of tin. However, raw aluminium or aluminium in its raw form actually doesn't work well because it reacts with some of, say, citric acid or some of the acids in our bacon, and will lead to some corrosion in there. So that's not a good thing. In terms of its durability and substance, it does stretch because of the heat, and it's very susceptible to actually having bumps on it, and it will warp. Okay, so in terms of quality long term, not your exact best friend, but in terms of your baking, it will guarantee you great results. Now, you will find that there are variations of pans, for instance, and like I said, I love a PME tin. A PME tin, it comes from anodized aluminium. We will come to that, why anodized is your best friend and why it works. Whilst I'm over there chatting away, let's see. Oh, someone caught my hat. Someone caught, okay, let's see what's happening in the chat. There's a Bonnie, what time did you join? Is it? Okay, let's, it seems like I missed quite the chat in there. So we'll be coming to the material for your tin. So we've just discussed aluminium. We're going to go down to the next, which will be carbon steel or steel. Okay, it is heavy, it is durable, it works, but it is open to rusting very quickly, which doesn't work well for you. Okay, and then you have is it the coated non-stick dark tins? These are, I'm not throwing shade at our supermarket, but these are the tins you'll find on your supermarket. And in fact, the reason why I have my hat on my head is that when I started baking without knowing any different, these were affordable for me. They were cheap for me to pick up. And with time, when I learned the difference between the quality of tins and the material used for my bake, I swapped, and suddenly I went and PME is not sponsoring this video, by the way. Okay, I don't know PME. I have bought everything. In fact, as I stand here, I can declare to you, up until this point, I fly high and alone by myself, spending my own money. So if I'm recommending a product here, believe me when I say I buy it out of my own pocket. Thank you. Now let's move on. So when I started baking as a young, inexperienced baker, money was tight and I just wanted to pick up the tin that would just contain the cake. That's all. And that was the basic of what I was thinking. But guess what? As time happened, this is what we have. Which is why I don't bake with this anymore. And which is why this will sit here for the time being. Can you see what it looks like on the inside? So the coated dark pans, which actually the coating is done on either another lower form of aluminium pan or a carbon steel pan. So the original is some form of heat conducting material, but the coating is not just for aesthetics. There's good reason for that. For instance, when it's coated in either ceramic or Teflon, it makes sure that it ensures that when you are frying or cooking, it doesn't stick, makes for easy cleaning, it's efficient. But when you're baking with that, and eventually the coating comes off, it does affect your bake. But even whilst the coating is on, because the coating affects how heat conducts and transfer and moves in your oven, it is likely to affect your baking results. So for instance, Lollipop explained that it will give you darker results because yes, it will crust quickly and it will burn quickly on the sides for you, which will lead to a browner, darker outcome for you. So if you're using the dark pans, you want to make sure you adjust your heat accordingly. But because the material itself and how it is made affects how heat performs in the oven or interacts with the material, it is generally likely to affect your baking results. But the more obvious result that we have become accustomed or know about is the browning or the darker bakes, right? So if you want to bake a cake that you want a light, even textured look to it, better to avoid this one. But they are affordable and also cost effective and easily accessible, because whilst you may not find your anodized tins willy-nilly at your local shops, you may be able to pick some of these ones in your local Sainsbury's, which are very affordable. So there are pros and cons to each item you pick. Now let's get in the chart and see where we are here. That aside, another material that is used in the tins, depending on what you are baking, is silicone, a form of rubber, right? Silicone is not a good conductor of heat at all. It is able to maintain a form for you and it removes easily when you bake stuff in it, but it's not a good conductor of heat. So you're better using these for, say, things that you want to keep form that will be chilled later, because then you can flex the element out of it, but definitely not for baking. If you want to start baking as a professional, stay away from silicone elements unless the recipe and the recommendations for the recipe outcomes and bakes specifically defines that you use a silicone item. I have this as a silicone mold. Do you know what I use it for? It is actually, this comes in two parts. I don't know whose idea that was. This comes in two parts. It has this base and it has the cover, and it is the silicone form of this metal. And I use this for when I want to make a giant cupcake. I use this part to create the giant cupcake base. So into this, I'll put the melted chocolate, leave it to chill, to take the form of the ridges here. And then I will build my cupcake, giant cupcake with it. But I bake in this cupcake pan. Now, we just spoke about dark coated pans. For what it is worth, I couldn't find an anodized form in this. Okay, in this I couldn't find this pan, which is sort of a novelty or specialty pan, in anodized form. So I had to go for the dark coated material. For what it is worth, does it work? Most of the time, by the time I finish baking, the sides are burnt a little bit and I have to carve it. But because the cake ends up sitting in a silicone mold of the chocolate bottoms here, It kind of works. I hope you know what I mean. I was looking back at, I don't use this these pans anymore. I don't. And today, as I was getting organized and researching for the tutorial, it just occurred to me, oh, I could go back to making very simplistic decorated cakes, as in very beginner friendly, because after 10 years, I know I have advanced a lot. And I think looking back now, I realized that much of my content in recent times have focused heavily on the baking aspects and the science involved in baking. Whereas I started as a cake decorator to fill in the gap about beginner basic decorating essentials and processes that will help you. So here's a question. If you like to see more videos that are baking focused, as in, no, actually not baking focused, decoration focused, as in you want to see beginner friendly decorative tutorials where everything is just accessible and easy for you, please let me know in the chat, and we'll take it there. Oh, Ivad Mark is back. Ivad, how are you? Yesterday, Ivad, you were here yesterday. Ivad is our new friend. He's holidaying in Ghana, visiting the in-laws and having a great time, okay? He was here with us yesterday. I tell you, for those of you who were here yesterday, did you realize what happened? The phone died. Now that we're talking, the phone died. Let me just make sure my phone is charged so it doesn't die. Because if it dies in the middle of our... Ivad, thank you. You know what? We say we African people. Oh, please. You have African in-law. The moving of the hands and the aggression comes natural. We are just expressive people. So, yeah, thank you. Where's my hat? People, I am distracted. Wait, let me just go and make sure my phone is charged, because yesterday we were on a live when suddenly it's like everything went out and I was left wondering. I'm like, what? And it took me a minute to realize what was happening, and before I knew, it was gone. The phone had died. I couldn't even turn it on, so I had to leave it to charge for another like 20 minutes before I could turn it on to say to you that it's over. Okay, so bear with me. Let's come back in a minute. Let me go and make sure this is charged. Where are we? Okay, let's... Okay, I mean, I think I knew better today. I knew better to make sure that my phone had been charged enough. Right, Ivad. I will be careful. You know, if you're in Ghana, ask any Ghanaian person over there that what does it mean if a Ghanaian calmly tells you to be careful? Be careful. That's a warning to say, watch out, you. Okay? Now, forget the fact that I had the hat on. You see what I was saying about the dark pants? That the coating comes off. Can you see? The coating comes off. It is not great. Nobody would want to bake in this. And on top of that, the bottoms are loose. Now, whilst we are talking, Nick is back. Nick, how are you? Nicola is our YouTube auntie over here. Okay, at least she's my YouTube auntie. She's our auntie. She's our YouTube auntie and friend to the channel. And by the way, if you want to know about cooking Italian food with other mixed Asian cultures, please make your way to Nicola's recipes. Okay, I can just about teach you to cook Ghana jollof and fry you Ghana chicken. Ivad will know about that. And then I can tell you how to make a banging cake. But outside of that, I would just leave the pizzas and the pastas and the tagliatelles to Nicola. Okay, Nicola, I'm still waiting for my my takeaway bowl. Okay, I am waiting, sis. Come on now. Because I know that food is going to be good. That said, people, let's continue our chatter on cake pans and cake tins, right? So if you see my cake pan on my head, that is to say this cake pan is not baking anymore. But then again, okay, now that we're here and I've got your attention, now that I'm here and I've got your attention, right? Who has seen that video where a lady, somebody, okay, she's definitely a woman, they hang different kitchen ornaments and they are I want to show you that video so bad, but go find it. There's a video right here on the internet where somebody has hung kitchen ornaments, and normally it's a meme, and the joke is, go find the video. That's all. Now sometimes I have to catch myself mid-sentence and go and I know if you don't know, you have no idea what I'm talking about. And if you do know what I'm talking about, you know you're my person. Okay, let's move on. Okay, Tara is saying the special hat. Yeah. It's a special hat because you need to get the right cake pan or cake tin made of the right material that will help you get better results. So yes, I love my hat. There is Sue. What type of bakeware do you cook of bakeware to cook in an electric oven? I read you can't use glass or non-stick. You know what? I haven't looked into that closely, to be honest. So I can't give you any information on that, whether right or wrong. What I do know is that glass is generally not a great conductor of heat for baking. That I know. But as an electric oven, my hob is electric, the oven is gas. So I wouldn't know, my lovely. But you know what? Over here, we don't purport to know any and everything. If I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know. But what I will also do is that I aim to go and research the subject matter or the question that I am asked. And then I can come back and give you thorough and useful information concerning the subject matter. So I will note that and I'll have a look into it. Okay, but we also know that some glassware, okay, this is what I can tell you generally. Glass has to go through a specific process to make it safe for using with electrics. For instance, there are some glass pans you can't even put in a microwave or bake in the oven, and that's because the glass is not. There's a process that the glass has to go through to make it specially for baking. So if you get a glassware, if it's not specially noted as good for baking or is oven safe, as in oven safe, or it specifically says hand wash, then you should know the difference. If it says oven safe, then it means you can bake in it. Whereas if it doesn't and it says hand wash only, then don't go put it in the oven because then it will crack on you. At least that is my knowledge about glass. I don't use glassware over here at all for baking because generally, combined with all the other things we've spoken about, including silicone, glass is not a good conductor of heat. So I don't use it at all. Okay. That said, yeah, Nicola makes some good food. Sue, thank you. Sue, thank you for being here. And thank you for the question. Okay, Google says stainless steel and yeah, you can't put stainless steel unless you want to burn your house. Yeah, anodized aluminium are your best friend anyway. So before, if you are just joining us today, if it's your first time you're seeing this unusual face, if it's your first time here, put your hand up in the chat so that we can introduce ourselves and get to know you, and then I can recap where we started and where we are now before I continue the presentation. If it's your first time here, can we see you? Nicola, what's the pan doing on my head? Well, just for emphasis, first of all, but secondly, because I look pretty with a hat. And thirdly, I did show you my magic. Okay, it's Tara and Sue's first time here. Tara and Sue, thank you for stopping by today. I hope that by the end of our interaction, you would have gained some valuable information to assist your baking adventures. And we don't care whether you are a hobby baker, you are a beginner level, a pro or intermediate. We don't mind. We do all sorts. And actually, my aim here is generally to make the baking or decorating processes super beginner friendly, break down the science where appropriate, and also bring you practical information where necessary to help you get the best out of your baking experience. Because you know what? Say it with me. I love cake. I love cake. But outside of that, okay, outside of our subjects of cake, we also have a very, very engaged and positive community. And I'm going to say that as long as possible, as best as I can, and as honest as I know it. And I pray that it remains the same, because I know in YouTube culture, the bigger you get, the more open you are for weeds. Weeds to infiltrate your crop and start choking things out. Do you see the analogy I'm making here? The inference is that the bigger you get, the less likely it is wholesome, because people make their way into it and then they murky the waters. But for now, I mean, we are getting to 8.5, which is 8,500 people strong. And I can proudly say we are such an engaged and positive community. So between cakes, we talk real life issues sometimes. And I'm Christian. I wear my faith out loudly. Being Christian, declaring I'm Christian doesn't suppose under any circumstance that I am perfect or I am a do-gooder. No, it's none of that. It is just saying there is something I strongly believe in, something that has helped me, okay? And I wear it so loudly and proudly. And I hope that whilst you're here, because we are real people with complex experiences and lived experiences that are true, if at some point we were having a conversation about, say, faith, we don't care what you believe in. As long as you have something that helps you, bring it to the table. Let's hold each other's hand and let's keep it moving. Okay, that is the community we have here. So we talk about any and everything. I mean, we know each other through this chat, from your friend Lollipop, who is keeping you engaged over there. Her granddad passed recently. We know what we need to know. It's not super intrusive, but we save space for people to come and engage with us, even if they don't like cake. So Ivad over here is our new friend who joined this week. He's Australian, those people, those nice people. But he's in Ghana visiting his in-law, and he found us. He found baking during COVID, but found us, and he's here today. And we know he's in Ghana. What has Ghana got to do with making cakes? Well, apart from the fact that I'm Ghanaian. Anyway, so he's my in-law by extension, because in the Ghanaian culture, we don't care where you come from on the part of our Ghanaian region or location. If you're Ghanaian and I know you, you are my family member by extension. Doesn't make sense. It's a random chatter. Let's ignore that. So if you're just joining us, thank you for being here. Today, before you got in here, if you're catching us mid-view, we're talking about baking pans, the importance of choosing the right one, which will affect your baking outcomes for better or worse. So we started with trying to understand why you should choose better pans and why better pans matter, because they will conduct heat better, they will interact with your oven heat to conduct better and guarantee good baking results. You pick the wrong pan, it will affect your bake as well. So then we went down to determining the shapes of tins you can find on the market, from regular shapes to irregular ones to novelty tins and everything else in between. Unfortunately, I don't have the wide range of all the shapes for demonstration, but I was able to demonstrate the ones that I have available here. And then we broke those down to the material that makes them. And we spoke about aluminium, we spoke about steel, we spoke about silicone, glassware, and the rest of it. And over there, we are now moving to anodized tin. Anodized tin is a form of aluminium tin that has been that has undergone an electrical process to make it durable and stable to conduct heat better. So simply, let's just say it is a refined form of aluminium that works better for baking. Simple as. I just don't want to bore you with the technical details of all of that. But just remember, aluminium is your friend when it comes to baking. But more important, anodized aluminium is better. And to simplify it further, the brands that carry some of these anodized things are largely your PME. For my US-based audience, you're looking at Fat Daddios. In the UK, those are imported, but we have Silverwood also. So you're looking at PME, Fat Daddios, Silverwood, or what do you call it? Wilton. Okay, so all these brands that I have named, if you went to get a tin from them, you are likely to get the anodized form. So if you didn't know before, know that when you're buying a PME tin, you are buying a tin that is baker focused and baker centered to guarantee you great results. And that is the UK PME. We have, and the good thing about PME, and mind you, I have to say PME doesn't sponsor me anyway, so this is PME. But over here in the UK, we have brands PME and Wilton are great products for any beginner baker when it comes to pans, because you know what, they are also very affordable. Okay, PME tins will set you back depending on the size. Maybe let's say starting price of about £8 to £10 depending on your size. Okay, so for instance, you may be able to pick a 6-inch pan for about, let's say, £7 or £8 from Amazon if you like. Whereas while say Silverwood and Fat Daddios are all baker focused and professional baking equipment centered, they are also on the pricier side because they are tailored for absolute professionals. I have a Silverwood. I have a Silverwood pan. That is a 14-inch pan over here. It's 14-inch. And you know how much this burger cost me? This alone cost me on a sale £60. So next time somebody tells me the cakes are expensive, I'm going to have a fit. What am I missing here? Okay, right. So let me take some questions, or let me look in the chat. Tapita is not here today, Nick. Tapita is off to the in-laws for 4th of July celebration. So she did tell us she's driving today. So let's send her traveling mercies. Tapita, wherever you are, may the Lord guide your journey, take you from your place to the destination you're headed at, and give you peace. Amen, Tapita. I told you, we pray over here. That's just by the way. And if you didn't know Tapita, Tapita is our... she's sister to the channel, little sister to the channel, okay, and her mom is our nana to the channel, okay. So that's Tapita, but Tapita is not here today because she's visiting her in-laws. Tara, thank you. And then right, if you find me looking here, I'm looking at the secondary screen to see what chatter is going on over there. What chatter is going on over there? So we have who is running? Nicola, where are you going? Yeah, Nicola does some live cooking sessions if you want to check her out. Okay, Sue is asking, what is the best type of bakeware to cook in an electric? Okay, we've answered that already, right? I think most of the answers are answered by Nicola and Lollipop. So thank you all for that. Little Sweet Potato, you're asking me, how do I feel about Sexy Red? I can't pretend I haven't heard the name, but I don't know who she is. If I were to guess the context I heard her, is she a singer? But you know what? I don't feel anything about people I don't know, okay? If I have an opinion about them set in principle, I'll explain my thought process. But just because I am Christian doesn't mean I have to shoot everybody who probably goes against the values that I prefer. So I have nothing to tell you about Sexy Red, but I guess she is a beautiful person, okay, to her family, and she probably puts out some great music out there, but I don't know, okay? Does that answer the question? Nicola, now you know what yeah, so Little Sweet Potato, I can see you repeating the question. I hope I have answered now. Okay, I think Sexy Red is an amazing person. I hope as long as she hasn't killed anybody, hasn't murdered anybody's baby, or done anything awful, okay, I guess she's a good person to her family. Is that enough? But I don't know her. I don't know who Sexy Red is to have an opinion. Okay. Okay, Little Sweet Potato says, my mom's cake keeps bursting apart. Is this let's see. Let me take that question again. She said, my mom's cake keeps bursting. Is it too much oil? Little Potato, I can't tell you why. You know the reason? Baking is a science, and different things affect your baking outcome. So if your cake keeps bursting, I need to understand how it is bursting. Is it splitting in the middle? Is it raising and then poof in the middle? Is it a crack? I don't know. So without the right context or even visual information about what we are talking about, I cannot give you an answer. But it is less likely to be oil. It is less likely, because depending on what the crack is, it is either a general influence from heat, because sometimes depending on where the crack is happening, so if it's rising so high and then both it breaks in the middle, it is cooking too quickly, the gases are forming, and then they have to come out of somewhere. Okay, if it's a crack in the middle that appears on and around the cake, it also shows some sort of burns and heat pressure in your bake, and that is tied closely to recipe, ingredients, and technique. Do you see what I'm saying? So I can't tell you. It is less likely to be oil. The only way it can be an influence of oil, but not the oil itself, is the quantity of oil. Because oil adds moisture, oil tenderizes. So depending on your recipe, if you have less oil compared to the ratio of other ingredients, then your cakes will bake dry quickly in the oven. And depending on your heat influence, you may end up with cracks in your cake, but it's not directly because of the oil. It is the oil and other secondary influences. I hope that answers your question. It's not a yes or no. It is a contextual issue. But until I understand what your mom is doing, how she puts her ingredients together, the technique she employs to make her cake, I could never answer that question specifically for you. Okay? Tara, thank you. I am so glad it's your first time, but you are happy. And yes, I see you are telling us you love cake. Yeah, say it with me. I love cake. If I ever had a merch, the first thing would be I love cake. Okay, that is just by the way. And if you don't understand what this is doing over here on my head, just for clarity, it is just to emphasize the point. We are talking baking pans, and these are some of your worst pans you can pick. And I used some of these pans. Well, this is actually pans I bought like 8 years ago. I don't use them anymore. They're going in the bin, but I thought since they will be useful for demonstration, I'm going to stick them on my head and then it will make the point. Okay? That is said, right, we answered the question. Mitali. Okay, a song by Big Pluto. Okay, look. I think sometimes Little Sweet Potato, I'm sending you hugs. Little Sweet Potato, thanks for the recommendation. Here's the thing. I think sometimes the overt profession of my faith almost leads to people categorizing an individual just because, and that is because we Christians have done a poor job of representing our faith, okay, and representing ourselves, in that we are, most of us are Pharisees. We're out there pointing what somebody is doing, and we are not looking at what our faith actually calls us to do and represent ourselves as. And if we were to take the teachings of the person who has given us salvation, which is our Jesus Christ, he hung out with all the odd people in society. He hung out with them hoes, okay? That's just by the way. He hung out with the lepers. He hung out with the tax collectors. He hung out with the people who were called unclean and all sorts of. And he always used that as an opportunity of influence by not becoming judgmental of them, but was very informed in his wisdom to be able to challenge their perspective whilst maintaining a character that stood tall above all else. And if we are to be Christians, that's the standard we should be professing. In that, when I said I am not a perfect person, I am not a perfect person. If you cross me one morning, you will have me effing and blinded, okay? I'm not saying that as an excuse to be anything other than a good Christian. I am saying that to say I am a Christian, which is like an abstract and religious belief that has to be interpreted in human form. So do I know Sexy Red? Hell no. But if I went and Sexy Red, if I went and Sexy Red was over here doing something that will be judged by some Christians as very unchristian, will I judge her? No. I have a choice to decide what influences me, because I have to be aware of what I absorb into my spirit, and that's a choice and a preference thing, but largely that is also because of my faith. So if she was singing a song that I felt like, oh, I can't deal with this, that's a choice. We don't have to like all music. I don't know anything about like gun metal music, but it doesn't mean they're demonic. Not everything has to be demonic, but of course you have to be aware. So again, I'll go listen to what that Big Pluto is all about. But whether she's Christian or not, I don't care about anything. You know what? At the core, we're all broken people figuring life out and finding a way to do it in a good way. That's all. Okay, that's enough of what I'm trying to say over here. Okay, and Wim Whammy. I don't know. Chances are, look, I am nearly a 40-year-old woman. You probably don't know it by looking at my face because I look like I'm 23. Okay, but I'm nearly a 40-year-old woman. Maybe the songs you like I don't even appreciate, because the songs and music sometimes it's tied to a generation. I'm sure if I started singing 90s R&B, you would find me very old and boring. So all the people you are recommending over there, I probably don't know them, not because of anything to do with my faith and values. It's more to do with preference and association and influence. That's all. Now let's go back to cake tins, okay? Don't keep a pan on your head. It's not us, darling. Mitali. Thank God I'm not here to please you. If you knew that pan on my head was for emphasis, did it get your attention? Yes, I'm sure. That's why we're talking about it. So I'm going to keep it on my head for the reason that I have already stated. Now, can we move on? Ivad loves jollof. Bro, if you didn't love jollof, I wonder what Ghanaian woman you're married to over there. Okay? And if you didn't know jollof rice, come and see me later, people. Mitali, I don't believe in what you believe in. So if I could lose my hair from having a pan on my head, look, being bald is not a curse. Let's be all right with sometimes losing a bit of something, okay? Have you ever heard if you talk too much, a fly will enter your mouth. I'm African. We have like superstitious beliefs. I make a living out of talking. I haven't had a fly enter my mouth yet. So I'll keep the pan on my head for the good reason of emphasizing the subject matter we are discussing. And hopefully I don't lose my hair. But if I lost my hair, the God who gave me decided to have it back and it comes with age. I'm okay with that. Thank you. Oh, what's wrong with me today? Look, the chatter has developed. Oh, God. Savvy, you said I make cakes, making cakes exciting. Thank you. Thank you. I am glad you feel that way. Now, let's go back to baking things, okay? Baking things. I went off being distracted by what is Little Potato telling me about Sexy Red and all of that stuff. And I forgot that I'm here to discuss baking things. So while we're talking baking, that is for your entertainment. That is just by the way. Okay, so Lollipop is asking, will an AI marble cake work? Like 285 grams of all-purpose flour, 375 grams of granulated sugar, 10 grams of baking powder, there's 5 salt, 225 grams of unsalted butter, 2 large eggs, 10 mils of vanilla, and 235. You know what? Looking at the recipe, it is likely to work. Because what AI will do is AI will draw information from all places that it sources the information from and derive you the recipe. Will it be guaranteed great results? I don't know, because unless it also involves the technique and processes with specific details, I will be cautious about this. But the ingredient ratio and everything in the chart almost suggests to me that it should work. And that's the answer for your question, okay? What I will say is that if you're picking a recipe, look out for a tried and tested recipe. And by a tried and tested recipe, I mean a recipe where, say, if you went online and you found allrecipes.com, for instance, you can look at recipes that are rated and look at the human reviews. Because sometimes the rating is also like very artificial. It's enhanced a little bit. But if you look at the human experience of what the recipe is, then you can actually decide for yourself whether it's tried and tested. Now, we have spoken about why your baking pans are important, the types you may have in terms of shapes, the material that makes them. And it's also important to know the forms that they come in. Sometimes they come in whole forms, as in you have a whole rounded tin or square tin. And then you have the, what's the bottom that you take out? That is just escaped me. But the other one also is the spring form. Okay, the loose bottom. Yeah, the loose bottom tin, which is this. And even though Silverwood is an anodized professional standard tin, it has a loose bottom. Okay, and this is a loose bottom. I've taken the bottom out. And then you have those in the form of spring form. Spring form tins are the ones you can take out. All of them have pros and cons. Okay, the pros of the whole tins are that they are whole, so they can almost support any and every type of batter. Remember, there are different types of cake batter for different objectives. For instance, if you were making a Genoa sponge, the batter is very runny, whereas if you're making a batter cake, the batter is a little more dense and strong, for instance. So runny, but and if you were making a 1 bowl chocolate cake or a 1 bowl muffin, it is more like a runny consistency of batter. So the whole pans hold any and every form of batter on the spectrum, right? So you get a pan for all sorts. but they can be difficult for you to get your baked good out of if they are not properly greased or prepared better before the bake. So make sure you grease your pans better, okay? And the greasing can take the form of actually just applying oil or some sort of fat base, lining your pans with grease-proof or baking sheets, or even better, using what you call the homemade gloop, as in the gloop you mix with flour with some sort of baking fat or oil, and then you apply that. Or sometimes just the fat and a sprinkle of flour. However you choose, just grease your tins better so you can easily take out your baked good. So that's the advantage of having whole tins and the disadvantage of having them. But it can't be such a bad result. Well, we have already spoken about the dark non-stick coated pans, which you should look out for. Not great for baking, but when they come in spring form, they are not good for runny batter because they will leak depending on what you're trying to do. So then you have to find a way of sealing the gaps so that they can't leak out. And it is the same for these pans, which is the loose bottom pans. The advantage though is that you are able to release your baked item easily, right? So if you were making a cake out of this and you greased it well, and for instance you were making it in an all batter form, probably you'll get a great bake. And as long as you leave the cake to sit at room temperature for a few minutes and it settles, you can just hit the bottom, flip it over, and you're done. And it is the same for the spring form. Problem is, if you have runny batter, you have to go all the way out of your way to seal it so it absorbs better. And if you don't seal it, either your butter is going to leak out or it is going to affect the shape, because sometimes the leaking isn't as big, but it will end up sealing the bottom out, and then by the time you finish baking you have to kind of carve the cake out. It will ruin your cake for you. So there are pros and cons to the choices you make, whether you're picking the cake, the pans made of the wrong material, right material, whether you're picking a novelty specialty, a round pan, whole pan, or spring form, and what have you. So bear that in mind. God, I'll tell you what, when I thought of actually picking up this subject matter to discuss, I did worry it was going to be so boring and daft, because over here we do a lot of baking, and most of the time I'm talking you through the baking processes and the science of it where possible. But it's hot in England today, and I thought, I'm not going to bake anything. I'm not trying to feel hot for you, but here we are. That's just by the way. Let's see. What am I missing in the chat? Okay. Right. So Nicola was sort of chipping in on the reason why there are cracks in the bake as well. So let's see. Lollipop out here having a chat with AI. Don't come back. Don't come and tell us your new husband is from AI. Okay? I'm kidding. Okay? Savvy. Savvy says, ignore the others and focus. You genuinely look good. Not because of your face, but because of your attitude. Looks never make someone truly good. It's always the behavior that matters. Savvy, you are so kind. Okay? You are so kind. Thank you. Right, let me just have my hat back. I miss my hat. Okay, Tara likes, greaseproof and parchment paper. I think, you know what? I have gotten into the bad habit of swapping parchment paper for greaseproof paper in terms of when I'm speaking. But what you actually need to line your baked tins with is parchment paper, not greaseproof paper, people. Okay? Lollipop and Nicola, you are just as bad as each other in the chat, okay? That said, we have spoken about the anodized pants being your best friend. So, people in the chat, okay, Mitali, instead we use baking powder. Maybe I missed something in the chat. Mitali, thank you. I missed something in the chat, but I know Tapeta, why Tapeta, you're sitting in my spirit. I hope you are well. Okay, so lollipop and lollipop is keeping you guys engaged over there. So yes, I think we have spoken about the baking pans, and like I said, when I started my baking journey, I bought these ones from my local shop, and they've now ended up on my head. So please don't buy these pans, okay? They are not good for you. Let's see. Okay, I think my pants look great on my head. I love them. I love them. But yeah, there you are. Baking pans. They make such difference to our baking. So people, I love this. Okay. When you started baking, your cakes began to sink too. Mitali, how long? Savvy. Right, Mitali, when you, how long have you been baking, darling? A year. Okay. Do you like it? Right, we are fixing our baking pans. It was only when I was trying to get ready for this live that I realized that I have so many tins. Thank you. Look, my hat looks good. Oh, and for those of you who missed the trick, I'll show you. I have a party trick. I don't want to overdo it, but you know what? This is my life in cakes. I have so many baking things. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing with all of this? People, ignore me, yeah? I am just sorting out my baking trays, which are literally everywhere. are we doing? Okay, we have. Okay. At least I've tried to put them back where they belong. I don't know if I was doing the right thing over there. But anyway, here's my party trick. Here's the party trick. Can you see? I don't think you can see me. Let's see. I have a party trick. That's me showing off now, isn't it? Look, I live here to entertain you, you know. Okay. You know what? At some point when you go back down, you can't come back up. Okay, I did come back up. I did come back up. I did. Well, if you were to come to a party with me on a night out, this is what you'll see. Okay? God. Yeah, we're done. It's a silly party trick. And it's a silly party trick, and that comes from hustling in Ghana, okay? I'm sure every Ghanaian person who has seen hardship knows how to do that. Because you grow up balancing things on your head to get from one place to the other. You know, this posh thing of carrying a heavy bag of rice is just ridiculous to me. Dump the damn thing on your head and just move along, okay? So, yeah. I don't want to show off, but I can balance stuff on my head. It's just, that's my life, by the way, okay? We talked cake pans and cake tins, and I hope you have learned a thing or two, and that should help you get better baking results from your life as a baker. Now let's get into the chat and see. Oh, Tara, come on, sis. I've got a skill, you know. I'm not just a baker. I bake. I love cake. And, yeah, I balance stuff on my head. Yeah. But I do it for your entertainment, people. I do it. If I just showed up and I was like, we're talking about baking things, you will be bored to death. You will scroll along because sometimes we just need the activity, and I think I need it too. So yeah, it's great to be here. But anyway, Savvy, where are you joining us from? For all of you in the chat, where, including our new people, Lollipop. Let me just give Lollipop's location out. Lollipop is in the UK with us. She's my neighbor. Even though I don't have the sea by my house, okay? Lollipop is in the UK. Ah, thank you, Lollipop. You are my soul person, okay? Lollipop says I could make the subject of dry painting interesting. That is because I've mastered the intangible art of chatting in a dark room and blabbing and never stopping, okay? This is my life, people. Like, I was typically that kid. Even my own mom was a, shut up! I can't. I love to yell. I've been doing this a long time, you know. You know, it is only as I got older, and I would say honestly, the last couple of years that my skill, it has become apparent to me as I've grown, and my skill of talking has paid me in some form, that I realized that, oh, actually, this is a thing. That's all. But otherwise, when I'm done with this, I just want to sit in my lounge and drink tea and not be bothered. If I told you I like the quiet, would you believe me? Tara is from Iraq. Oh, Tara. How are you able to, because I'm only asking this question simply because we had someone join us from Iraq, whatever. And I remember them being a little bit self-conscious about telling us where they were because they thought we would judge them. So the moment they said, oh, I'm joining from Iraq, they added in their sentence, like, yeah, I know it's not a great place. I'm like, look, honey, we are not here to judge you. I don't even know where Iraq is located on a map. Okay, it's okay. And then ultimately the conversation evolved, and she was saying, I think they were saying that sometimes sourcing ingredients can be a little bit expensive, because the ingredients that I was listing for the cake, they said they love to bake, and but the ingredients, especially vanilla and some items, were inaccessible. So that is just context to say, are you able to source ingredients? Are they as expensive? How are you able to get through baking and still enjoy it when sometimes ingredients are inaccessible for you, especially if that is your experience? Oh, Savi said, my voice, hey, Priyanka Chopra. Who? That's a blessing. I love Priyanka. Who is out here prophesying a TV show? Look, people, do you realize? Be careful what you wish from you. Because once I end up on the TV, I can't be this person anymore, because the TV contract will try to box me in. So here's the next good thing. Come and sit here. Let me just tell you what we need to do. Okay? Will it be great to be on the TV and to have a TV show? Yes. Can we turn what we're doing here into an actual like YouTube cooking show, cooking and baking show? Yes. Let's do it here. Okay? Honestly, let's do it here. Because here I am able to be myself. I can remain authentic. Because actually, turning this into a cooking show is not impossible. All I need is some fancy cameras and somebody to man it over there, and then boom, we have a TV show. But those cameras are the F3 and what have you, they're expensive. So unless we want to set up a fund and work at turning this into a production show, I love the idea of TV, but I want this to be your TV show. Actually, yeah, because if I end up over there on mainstream TV show, first of all, they won't give you the time. The airtime is super limited. And it will come with so many contractual obligations. There are things you can't say. You can't be loud-mouthed and wide as I am over here. And I know that, because you know what? The blessing of being here at my big old age now is that I'm aware of what I like, what I don't like, and I know the world enough to know what works. Okay, so yes, will I love to go on a Netflix show? Yes, just for a season though, like just because it's something that I can do for a moment. But if the clause ever said I can't say one thing, I'm out. Okay, bye. Mitali is asking if I've ever made an Indian vegan version of cake. I've made a vegan cake. Honestly, I didn't like it because the bind without the use of eggs made it a little bit too moist. And I didn't like the crumb of the cake. It was too dense and too moist for me. But yeah, I've made a vegan cake. I don't know about necessarily making it an Indian version. Roger, what did you put in there? Orang mana? Roger, I don't know what you're saying. Hi, Roger. Yeah, Tara, that's the spirit. Yeah, that's the spirit, to turn this into a proper TV show, as in a YouTube cooking show. I don't know. Have you seen Nick's Kitchen? If we finish what we're doing here, you go check. There is a YouTuber on here. He's a very accomplished chef, really nice guy, and you must have heard his name, Nick Giovanni. He's a young, pretty-looking chef, and he starred on, I think, is it Hell's Kitchen or MasterChef? One of those shows, and he didn't win, but he caught the eye of Gordon Ramsay, and he has now gone. He's almost like in the same realm of your Mr. Beasties, if you like, Mr. Beast, in the same realms as them, but he is a really, really talented cook, okay? And he started making YouTube videos and all of that, and I think the channel is Nick Giovanni, and it moved into the cooking entertainment sort of show, and then he has since created a second channel that focuses on cooking. It's a cooking show style production, but it's a filmed session. I would like a live version of what he does, like as in not him per se, but I'm talking the format. So what we are doing here to still make it into a live production, you know, but like as a baking / cooking show, if you like a live version. So, but that comes with responsibility, and actually a closer visual to that is, I don't know if you would know this, what do you call her, Anna Olsen. She's a baker on the platform, Anna Olsen. She's a Canadian baker. If you finish watching this, go and watch Anna Olsen. She creates like filmed videos as in long form, but she does bake-alongs and she films them in a live format. If you go and see, you will see what I mean. And that's what the aim is, to grow this and to have that format in a TV show style production, but in a live format where you can actually call in or interact in a way where it is wholesome, engaging, and interactive for you. I don't know about being on a TV show. Being on a national TV show or owning a cooking show on a national mainstream platform seems like the goal, but I think I know myself to know that it will be greatly limiting to the potential of what I love, which is that I'm able to be myself with a no filter, have a sense of what I want to say, because I know my audience. And if I traded that for a contract where you have set a limited timeline to say something, to be careful about what you have to say, to not be able to, no, suddenly it kills the joy. But if I had a contract for a very short term to do something that might bring me the exposure, depending on what it is, I won't turn it down. I mean, yeah, it's neither here nor there. But the whole point of this is that I have my voice now and I can speak to you directly. And that is very valuable, because sometimes when you are given the mainstream opportunity, they will try to dim your voice on your own platform. Sometimes it's not unusual that the contractual terms will come as that whilst you are over there with them, okay, you can't do what you do here. And what if you don't transition to that place with me? And I don't expect you to. And we've seen that happen time and again. I mean, there was a popular YouTuber who used to make comedy content. I don't want to mix her name, but you might probably know. If you know who I'm talking about, put in the chat. I keep confused. It's not Liza Kosher. It's the other one. She's an Indian lady, Indian Canadian for that matter. She used to do like some sketch YouTube, very successful, very popular. And then she made it to, what do you call it? She had a very big production show on mainstream American TV. And she's come back to say, she's now come back to admit the failures of it. It failed horribly. Now, I'm not saying that as casting aspersions at her, because I really don't know the context of what that was all about. What I know is that the audience, there's a reason why, if you have a telly in your house, there's still a reason why you switch that telly off and you sat here talking to me or engaging with me, right? because the TV presents you a different experience, and what I do here presents you a different experience. And in truth, what is different about both experiences simply is that you want an element of relatability. Many a time when we watch television, it's for escapism. The escapism that we cannot relate to, but something to kind of just dull us from the everyday experiences of our lives. But when you're on YouTube, especially for a live experience like this, you're in my home kitchen. I'm talking to you via a screen on my Samsung phone over here. It's only when I'm filming like, as in like long form, when I'm using like professional cameras and a microphone. I don't have a microphone. I wake up and I think about what I have to say. I prep and I come and I deliver it to you. We have a laugh and I feel like I spoke to somebody on the streets by just talking to you. Now, suddenly that's gone. The authentic, sometimes even when I'm coming here, I don't even know what I want to come and tell you. What I just walk by is that whatever I do, it has to be a value of some form, whether I am holding your hand throughout some crisis in your day. And we have an eclectic group of people here, right? We have our girls prefect. Is she here? What's her name? Tatiana. Tatiana is a business owner who is in the gymnastics business, super professional, runs a team of 25 people. I don't know what she's doing on YouTube live talking to me. Okay, she's married with a husband that she goes on trips and does stuff with. She's a business owner, hello, with 25 people to worry about. And she's on YouTube. She's actually very engaged in our community here, right? But she'll probably have been that person I would never be able to relate to on the streets. Not that she's any better than me, but how many times do we see somebody of a different, that we perceive to be of a different class or standard, that we go and say, oh, hi, let's talk. But she's here in the chat with us. She tells us. In fact, I remember the very first day she showed up, we were talking about something faith-centered, and she said she was actually having a bit of stress from work. And so the fact that she got into our chat and we were so engaging, she felt so warm, and she stuck with us sometimes, since then. And it is the same for you who I'm talking to. Like Lasso Kid. Lasso Kid is a university student. Okay. I don't know where the guy is. I don't know what they do over there. But I know they do stuff in university because I talked to him in my comment section. Okay. There is a real human value of connection and engagement. And it's not just for the numbers, by the way, because I always encourage people on my lives here. Oh, congratulations, Lasso Kids. I always encourage people on my live over here to say, even though I want you to like the video and subscribe, don't be, if you think you're just going to subscribe because I asked you to and you have no interest in ever coming back, don't subscribe, because I don't need that, because that doesn't do anything. I want to know who is in my, the comment section, and I want to remember something about them. Because it is important. Because if it's the numbers will come. I mean, I've been a cake baker for 11 years now. And believe you me, if I wasn't doing this on camera, I'll still be in my dark, small kitchen baking. Because I love baking. Okay? I'm just privileged enough to be able to communicate what I love to do and to bring it to you. So I say all of that to say, am I crazy for not wanting a TV show? It's not so much I don't want it. I want it to come in the same value that I delivered for you. And more likely than not, it's an impossible dream. In that, those people who will give me the contract to come on television would have seen something they want to exploit. Do you think they care that I still want to be here for you? No. They will be over there trying to tell me what I can't say, and they will be here. No. So, in fact, here's a pledge to you. If you really care about being here, stay engaged, stay supportive with the content, and let's grow together. That's all, okay? That's all. Lasso Kid, congratulations. You finished uni. You finished uni. Hey, congratulations. You paint pictures part-time as a hobby. See? We know Lasso Kids. And Tara, when I asked when is this your first time, it's because I also know those who come here first time, because most of the time I see the names And Lollipop and Tapeta do a good job by engaging with everyone. And we're like friends and family here. So yeah, Lasso Kid, congratulations. If we could, we would have made you a cake. Okay? We would have made you a cake, but you didn't tell us. So we can't make you a cake. All right, that said, people, let's go. Where is the chat? The chat is, look. Let's go and see what's happening in the chat. I can't see my chat. Where is the chat? Oh, okay. You paint a cake. I think you should. You should, darling. Lasso Kid, you should. And then come and post it in the community space so that we can see what you painted. Isn't it, Lasso Kids? I think now, all you 27 people who are just joining the chat, Savvy and Melody, all of you 27 people that I can see over there, now 26. How are you? How is your Thursday? Where are you joining us from? I mean, we know our friends joining us from Iraq. And is it Tara who is joining us from Iraq, right? Oh, Tara, you're in uni, you're studying what? Dental technology. Is that the, Tatiana is over there playing with the, she's going to make a mousse cake. Oi, behave. Oh, okay. Oh, Lolithia. I hope I got that name right. From Virginia. Welcome to the stream. Great to have you. I know Virginia, it's probably morning in Virginia, is it? Because of the time difference, because it's nearly 3 p.m. here, okay? And what's the time in Virginia? I am always curious about my American audience and your location. If Tapeta was here, Lasso Kid, we don't care it's not very good. We care that you posted it, okay? So whether it's good or not, we live by the principle. Say it with me, I love cake, okay? And say it with me, practice makes progress, not perfect. Anybody who tells you practice makes perfect is a liar, okay? It doesn't. There is no perfection here. Practice makes progress. Now, good vibes. Good vibes. I think I've met you. Good vibes. Good vibes is joining us from the USA. You love seeing my cakes. I know. I think I've met you on the short street. Okay. I took a walk down short street and we saw each other over there. And I think we've caught up here on the live format too. So good vibes. Great to have you. Lolithia, you love to bake. Lolithia, thank you for sharing that. Lolithia, what do you like to bake the most? Okay, do you bake cake? Do you bake muffins? What do you love to bake the most? Lasso Kid likes Black Forest cake. Okay, Lasso Kid, is that you? Black Forest cake. Okay, cakes and cookies. Good vibes. So Lolithia likes cakes and cookies. Okay? And how long have you been baking, Lolithia? And by the way, good vibes. We know you love cake. Put in the chat your favorite cake to eat. Okay? Put in the chat what cake would you like to eat. Because we are just nosy people. We just want to know, because we know our Lollipop likes all sorts of cakes, but she loves the banana loaf. Okay? I know, Lasso Kid, I know you. I know you like Black Forest cake. 40. Oh, okay. Lolithia is 48. Oh, you've been baking 40. Now that's how my Lolithia, we need to invite you to my kitchen so you can come and give us some baking tips. That is my entire lifetime and some. Lolithia's baking history is my life and 2 of my sisters all combined. Congratulations, honey. Right, so in all these years, give us your best baking hack. Come on. Good Vibes loves red velvet, but doesn't taste of red dye. Good Vibes. Did you see me? Good Vibes. Right. Right. Okay. Good Vibes. Come here. Here's the thing. Good Vibes. A red velvet, even in modern terms, should not taste of red dye. Even though some genius person decided to throw red dye in to give us a red velvet. Did you know the original red velvet had nothing to do with red coloring? The red wasn't even red. It was a dark brown color that emanated from the reaction between the natural cocoa and the acid and buttermilk that was used in the recipe. That's the origins of red velvet. So it was some sort of an adapted form of a chocolate cake. But when people say red velvet is a chocolate cake with red food coloring, it's not true. I can tell you that. But a good formulated recipe should have the red to color it, but it should taste so good with a hint of chocolate note, a little bit of a tartness that comes from the buttermilk, but should have a balanced, wholesome mouthfeel to it. If you can taste the food coloring, it's not a good recipe. That's all. Oh, Lolithia, you lost the internet. Well, you came back. We've seen you now, okay? And by the way, Lollipop, unless Good Vibes, you don't like the coloring, that's a different conversation. But you can have a great recipe without the taste of food coloring. I can assure you that. If you do opt for beetroot, you'll have to formulate the recipe to scientifically be able to balance the color. Because remember, colors will change during cooking. And sometimes you have to balance the acid and alkaline in fruits or vegetables when they are used in cooking. So the results are normally not the same. Okay? I've tried it. They're not the same. Tara, food coloring can leave an aftertaste. Not the taste itself. They do leave an aftertaste depending on quantity. It can leave to like a rubbery, oily, tacky mouthfeel. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm sure if you went and put it also, by the way, let me clarify. It depends on the food coloring, okay? Commercially produced branded food coloring like think about your favorite brands depending on location, because in the UK we have Pro-Gel, we have Color Meal and all of that. So commercial ones, when you taste them, you can tell. But I know in our Asian communities, there are like some powdered food coloring for other things, which is different. So it is neither here nor there. Oh, Lolithia, thank you. Thank you. You know what? It's not just about you supporting me here. I hope that I will continue delivering value in whatever form that comes as, okay? The value is not just for cakes, okay? Either way, if you're not consuming cake content here, you are consuming cake content from the next person, if you love cake that much, okay? But the value is not just in cake. The value is in being able to provide you a safe space and a community that you can engage with and feel a part of, Okay, that is what we're doing. Good vibes. Your other favorite cake is a cheesecake. A cheesecake is not exactly a cake, but I know what you mean. You know what? I don't make cheesecakes, but I have a good recipe for a no-bake cheesecake, which is amazing. But I wouldn't even try because I think cheesecake would be Lolithia's expertise. Because you know what? Nothing beats a southern granny's good cooked food, whether it's the food itself or it's the cake. I said it. Okay, so yeah, anyone who's been baking for like your tapetas and your Lolithias, people, grab a seat, go to her house. You get some good food. Don't waste. Lolithia, you see, we know each other. Lolithia, Lollipop said nobody ate these bananas. They went riper, and I thought I'll bake with them today, but now two are gone. Oh no! So there goes your banana cake. Go bake something else. Okay? Now talking about banana cake, we baked some yesterday. This was our base test recipe anyway. And I told myself I wasn't going to eat cake because I haven't had breakfast, and waking up to all this cake is just not doing any good to my blood sugar levels. Okay, people? Because look, I may be looking pretty over here, but I'm a woman of a particular age, and at some point you just need to check your blood sugar levels before you end up with some illnesses that have big names that you can pronounce. Okay? So people, I love you, but I've been eating too much cake. So this is discipline going, even though the spirit is willing. No, this time, normally the saying is the spirit is willing, but the body is weak. This time the body is strong, the spirit is willing. Okay, I am willing to eat this cake, but the body is saying, nah, this ain't gonna help you, sis. Just leave the cake alone, okay? So no, we are not eating cake. Oh, banana fritters. Woo! Banana fritters with custard. You still need to make your birthday cake. On that note, say it with me. Happy birthday, Lollipop. Okay? Happy birthday in advance. Leave a happy birthday note in the chat for our dear friend Lollipop. I'll tell you what Lollipop does here, and does very well. I come here to give you the value of cake-centered subjects, okay? Whether I'm talking about recipes, I'm talking about cake pans, anything cake related. And if you've been here long enough, you'll find that this community, even though it's my name on here, it's nothing to do with me. It has been kept together because of Lollipop and the rest of you, okay? Lollipop, Tapeta, Delaney, and the rest of you, and Nicola. Okay, when you get in the chat, it's like they are at the doorpost going, good morning, good afternoon, you're welcome, trying to give you a great experience. If Lollipop wasn't here, today's experience will be different, because you know what, the other person, Tapeta, is away, and Nicola is here with us. And it's not the same if it's just one person. I'll be honest. If it's Nicola and Lollipop, or all three of them, like, there is balance in the chatter. Do you see what I'm saying? So please, when you say happy birthday to Lollipop, you're not just saying it because I asked you, but you are banking a favor that you will have a great experience every day when you come into the chat. So say it with me. Happy birthday to you. We'll be singing this tomorrow. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Lollipop. Happy birthday to you. The internet can be such an awfully dark place, but I can tell you, if you take your time and you apply discernment, you will find your people who will validate you, who will join your community, who will encourage your passion. And Lollipop has been one of those people that has been such a blessing to the community. So as she celebrates her birthday tomorrow, let's all wish her well. And on that note, she has a cake to go and make, and I have a life to go and lead. I'm going to love you and leave you, and we're all going to be back tomorrow, same time. Keep well, happy baking, and I'll see you soon. Nick, I'll catch you soon, okay? All of you who were here today, Lolithia, Savvy. Look, the names have gone puff. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.